This Kev.
And this Marlaina. We here representing for the original Black and Just Better Men, and we just jumped off the porch with Dirty Glove Bastards.
New drag, new whips on the way now. That's your bitch on the way now. Mama told me if you fall, never.
Alright, we got the collabs jumping off the porch with us today.
Kev from Verd Scooters.
Marlaina from Just Better Men, representing the original Black, my father.
Okay. How y'all feeling today?
We good.
How you feeling today, man?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here.
He hit you with the man.
She be so mad when I call her man, y'all. She do not be fucking with me, y'all. Nah, but nonetheless, it's a pleasure to have y'all on the porch with us today.
Yeah, appreciate that.
For sure. So how does it feel being here in the city, just explaining your father's story?
Listen, it's amazing. I'm grateful for the opportunity. We got a story to tell, and definitely want to let the people know, where we came from, where we going at, and what we got in store when it comes to Just Better Men.
That's real. So how would y'all describe coming up in Philly?
Whew. Philly is an extremely violent city. I mean, it's a small city. It's the city of like little niggas, meaning like people will have a gun before they got facial hair. It's a real violent city, but it's a city of neighborhoods. It's a small city. Everybody knows somebody that knows somebody. So, at the same time, it's some good things to Philly as well. So, yeah.
That's real.
For me, it was the same thing. And it was kind of like, being from, where my father and everybody, it was always, oh, you Black Kev daughter. How does it feel to be Black Kev daughter? And so, a lot of times I would just shy away from it. But to understand the story and be actually able to go through it, it was amazing for me, and I don't regret it at all.
No, that's real. What part of Philly are y'all from?
I'm from North.
Okay.
Yeah, my family grew up in North, like the Strawberry Mansion section. I lived down Badlands off of Mother Street, and then I got family from like the Moroccos, which is like Francisville.
Okay. How would y'all describe coming up in North Philly? Y'all always hear that North Philly breeds superstars. And gangsters.
It does. I love it. I represent my hood. I'm from Strawberry Mansion. So, I'm proud of where I came from. It made me who I am today. I don't have no complaints. I've seen a lot, been through a lot, but again, it made me who I am. So I'm grateful.
Yeah, if you can make it out of Philly, like when I move around in other cities, it's easier because Philly it's a lot of hate there. It's a lot of competition there. There's a lot of people that don't really want to see other people win. So you can move around in Philly. That's why I got so much respect for anybody that's in position that made it out of Philly, because it's really, really hard to make it out of Philly.
Absolutely.
And it's like the little brother to New York. So we don't have the same resources as New York and other bigger cities have, but we still low key a big city. So you know what I mean? So that's how I look at it.
That's real. And just because they saying Strawberry Mansion don't get shit sweet, it still get rough out there too.
Right.
No, for real.
Absolutely.
So how would y'all describe y'all childhoods coming up?
For me, I don't feel like, normal stuff. So, my father was around. I was raised also by my grandmother. My mom was around as well. I spent a lot of time underneath my grandma. She had a restaurant, so I was kind of like her second go-to in reference to the store and getting things done. Lot of love from my family and from the neighborhood. Actually, I got a lot of love growing up in North Philly. So I don't. My background and the things that I've been through or whatever, it never affected me. It was like I was always able to move how I needed to move, succeed in the areas that I needed to succeed in. So I wasn't cutting them shorts.
Absolutely.
My childhood was a little rough. Had a single parent mother, was in an abusive relationship. My mom actually is from the Lehigh section, but my dad from the Strawberry Mansion section. So my mom was a single parent. My mom actually got shot when she was like 16. We lived in foster homes. You know what I mean? I seen my mom go through a lot. She did a lot for us. So, we kind of was in difficult environments at a young age, but as we got older, things got better, and you learn how to deal with it, like she said, and make the best of it.
Absolutely. At what point would you say you started taking heed to your father's reputation?
Wow. I want to say, like, probably about the age of 12, 13, my grandma, she made it a point to make sure that we always got a chance to see my father. It was never a weekend miss about him. And, you know, as a younger child, 10, 11, I never wanted to admit that my father was who my father was. So people would, you know, address me and call me Little Black and Little Black Kev and all that. And I'd be like, I don't know who that is. That ain't my dad. But it was just for hearing, you know, the stories you hear, and you just want to kind of be cautious about them things. And then, you know, growing up, all I ever wanted to do, knowing his case and knowing that he had the time he had, because he had life. I always wanted to, you know, be able to take on those reins, because I watched my grandma beat the road up every week, spend the money to get the lawyers and all that. So I always wanted to take that from her and be able to, you know, do it for him. So I want to say 17, 18, it was like, all right, it's my turn. I'm done high school. Now I need to understand what the process is so I can be able to do what I need to do to get my father out on the street.
That's real. So why would you say you had to run from the reputation of your father? Why would you feel like that affected you more so growing up?
It more so was just, you know, hearing things in the street, you know, the stories about Junior Black Mafia, because that's what he was a part of back then. And my mentality was, you know, I never knew, you know, what they did to somebody else or what somebody else might have did to them, what type of grudges they may have held. So, you know, me and my little brother, he's not here anymore, he passed away. Like, that was one thing that we decided that we would do, was that, you know, when people came up to him, because his name was Kevin too, and, you know, we would say like, no, we don't know who you're talking about. Because we never knew, like, if somebody might have had a grudge against him, or somebody else that was in JBM might have did something, and because they might have felt like, okay, they connected because that's the son and the daughter, then we're gonna do something to them. So it was all about strategizing and just keeping, you know, people out your business as much as we could.
Absolutely, absolutely. For some outsiders who are looking in, how would y'all describe the impact of Junior Black Mafia to the city of Philadelphia?
Just, it was something, JBM was something that everybody loved. That was like a name that was in your house. Everybody, yeah, you know about JBM, or, you know, it was books that came out that, you know, I had read and other people had made, you know, different little skits and stories. So like JBM was a neighborhood name, it was a family name. Everybody knew what they was into, everybody knew, you know, where they came from. Some people felt like they knew how it started. You know, a lot of people don't know, JBM didn't mean Junior Black Mafia. It meant, to them, it meant just blowing money. That name, JBM, Junior Black Mafia, came from, you know, the cops in the streets.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of people don't know that. And then when you actually tell them, they be like, oh yeah. So, you know, it was
urban
just
legend. It was like an urban legend. Like she said, it rung bells through the whole city. Music, fashion. You know, he was talking about this idea that he came up with a jacket, it was like an MCM jacket with a bulletproof vest underneath it. And he pitched the idea to Dapper Dan. So he was tied in with a lot of them. He knew a lot of the earlier rappers, like, you know, and it was in movies. A lot of Philadelphia rappers mimicked it. I don't even think people really know the whole true story about it. They just heard about it and just heard, you know, how it was and what it was. So everybody kind of was like taking little different things from it.
Absolutely. I did read that your father did have a relationship with various people such as LL Cool J, Dapper Dan, but originally he started DJing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
talk about his life
Yeah.
prior to, you know what I'm saying, the just blowing money era.
Yeah, that DJ thing, he was the best party DJ. Like, his parties, from the stories that I heard, rocked the whole neighborhood, the whole city. You know, everybody was coming from all around to, they had the little dollar parties. My grandma used to be on the door. But they had the Funk Force, was him, and actually one of my uncles was a part of it too. But that was his love, that was his first love, the DJing, and it kind of spilled down because my brother was doing the same thing. My brother, he didn't DJ, but he was a party promoter.
That's
so
real.
you know, that was his first love. Between that and he used to box. He also did tennis. He played tennis, right?
That's
So
decent.
yeah, he played tennis. So he definitely had a good lifestyle prior to, and you know, He's living it. He lived it.
That's real. That's real.
He wasn't cheated at all.
So, the block parties and the parties in Philly, like that's a big thing within the community. So I can only imagine how impactful it was for your father to be spending at some of these shits. You know what I'm saying? And just bringing the community together.
Yeah. Every now and then, like if we be somewhere, there'll be a DJ. You'll catch him in his bag or whatever. So he still love it. I told him I'm gonna buy him a turntable so he can go back a little bit.
That'll be cold. Are the block parties still a big impact in Philly today?
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's crazy though, because unfortunately, with the crime and the things that's going on, they got it now where if you've had like incidents or shootings in your area and you apply for it, the city will deny you and have a block party. So it's sad, but it's definitely that's home for a lot of people. So a lot of people, they look forward to the block parties and the different engagements or the cabarets and all that stuff, because that'll be outside of a funeral. That's a time for everybody to see each other and have a good time.
Absolutely. Speak about the tragedy that took place at one of the block parties where a young girl had lost her life, and it also, like a lot of people look upon the violence, but it actually affected your father in a horrible way. He took it very hard.
So I think Kev might can touch on that a little bit more. I heard about it.
Yeah. He said basically like, it was a young girl. I think she was around the age of 11 or 12. She might even been younger than that. But he said that, at one of his parties, she was unfortunately killed. He said that really affected him in a major way and kind of made him look at music and that differently at that time. It was a turning point for him for sure.
I can only imagine due to the fact that he has a daughter, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's like, imagine a young child losing their life at an event where you're trying to bring the community together. So I can only imagine how impactful that probably was to him or detrimental it was to him. How do you feel putting yourself in his shoes? How did you feel like his process was, or like processing the whole situation?
I mean, based off what I see, because he grew up with my mom and my uncle, and everything I always heard about him was he was really family orientated and community orientated. He's very close to his friends and family to this day. So that says a lot about somebody who does 34 years and come home to the same family and friends.
Absolutely.
Some people can't even keep them type of people for 4 months when they locked up, you know what I mean? So I could just imagine how it affected him just based off how loyal he is and how solid he is with his family and friends.
Absolutely.
And to piggyback off of what he said, like just being his child and seeing, like, again, he did 34 years and the same guys stopping past, dropping off money, buying me sneakers, making sure my other siblings were cool. They was there to show up for graduations and, anything that was important to him, it was important to them. And those were the guys that at the end of the line, when it was time for us to go back into the courtroom and fight the battle to get him where he is today, those were the faces that I saw. And I mean, when I say consistently, it was never a gap in the 34 years. So definitely a testament to the individual that he was when he was out and the individual that he is now.
That's real.
He said people walk up to him and will say things that he did years ago and he wouldn't even remember it. And he just was like, so that's the type of dude he was.
No, that's real.
Yeah.
So why do you feel like it's a negative picture painted on his image when he was actually impactful to the community?
I mean, I got a conspiracy theory on that one.
Go ahead, Alex.
Listen, like the whole freeway thing with the like he funded the Nicaraguan war and all that type of stuff. I just personally believe, from what I heard, one side was getting 2,500 bricks, another side was getting 1,300 bricks, right? Being supplied by the same person. If two sides is gang warring with each other, why the person supplying them, one, don't cut the water off, like stop supplying everybody and say, y'all stop. He allowed them to keep doing that. Secondly, how is all of that coming from Mexico all the way to Philadelphia, and where are they storing it at? That's tons of cocaine. Now, we understand with them, they running through it. So it's boom, 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 it's out. That's how it go. But the person supplying you, he has to keep that somewhere. So I feel like it was probably used to fund the Gulf War, because that was around the same time frame, just like it was for the war being funded in Nicaragua when it was, in the late 80s. That's just my opinion on it. It don't make sense for all that to come into the communities. Nobody got no warehouses. Nobody got no trucking companies. Nobody got no boats. So like, and he was 20 18, 20 years old. Like, what the?
And 19.
Like 19 years old. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I feel like it was allowed to happen for a certain time period. And then once they got what they wanted out of it, they shut it down. I think it was bigger than him and bigger than them. And I just don't think they knew.
Absolutely. So where do you feel, of course, the cocaine era, but especially back then, was lucrative, as we all know. So where do you feel your father got his first introduction to that side of the streets, with Philly already being rough? When did you feel like he turned into a lucrative business?
Yeah, that part I can't really speak on. I think we're gonna have to say that for the next interview.
Okay,
so,
okay.
That way when he get here,
millions of dollars was passing through his hands. He did say.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you gotta understand. When did he go to jail? He was what? How old was he?
It was 1984.
So 20,
83,
22.
84.
So like your brain, they say your brain don't develop at 28. He was in prison at 22, running a multi-million-dollar business with other young men. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't think they was looking at it like that. They was just living in their environment while other people was dictating the environment that they lived in.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think for I know one of the things for him it was just make sure my family was good.
Yeah.
Even with him being away, like I never wanted for nothing. My sisters and my brothers, we never wanted for nothing. He made sure that before he left, we was good. My grandmom had the store, and the store ran off of me and her, in there every day, and we lived off of that. I had my son. I was a single mom for a very long time. He took care of my son from jail. And that was from him working and saving money and, people still looking out or whatever, but it was always in my eyes for him, it was just to make a better life for his family. And he liked money, he liked good things, he liked nice things, he still do.
Right.
But now we just got a different way to get it.
No, that's real. That's real.
Listen, they said it was so much cocaine around during that time period. Like, it was everywhere. Like, sort of kind of how guns and switches is everywhere now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that ain't a coincidence. During the pandemic, all these guns and switches. Back then, it was all these drugs everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how can you not get caught up in that?
Absolutely. Talk about once you knew that your lifestyle was different from amongst other peers your age.
I think they noticed it before I did. I can remember like a time where one of my childhood friends, she always just like, well, why you got that and how you get that and I got a dad, but my dad is around and your dad in jail and how you get, and I'm like, listen, I don't know. Like, I'm just, out here trying to be a kid. So, it was always a level of respect that I've never seen before. And it was like, for me, I felt like I had to keep that. I had to, make sure his name was never tarnished. So how I moved as a teenager and as a young adult, and even now, I'm always thinking like, listen, I came from an individual, and I always say it, I came from a boss, so I'm gonna be a boss. Thanks. And that's how that was the mentality I always had. So, I thought carefully about the decisions that I made because I always wanted it was like he never left, he was here. So anything that I needed to do where I was curious about it, I didn't know, I was unsure, I would wait for him to call home. Listen, this is what I got going on. I need your advice, or should I do it, yes or no? And he'll tell me, and if he say yeah, it's a go, it's a go. And if he didn't, then I ain't gonna say everything I ain't gonna say I listen to him all the time, but for the most part, it was definitely about keeping his honor and keeping his name clean, because no matter what was said to him, about him in the media or in the street, there's a lot of people in our city and outside our city that had a lot of respect for him. So when they see me or they see my sister or my brother or my other brother that passed away, it was just like, oh, they his kids. And everybody said the same thing, like, he was not around, but he was around. He was definitely a great father.
No, that's real.
And it showed.
How would you describe being raised by your father, but not close, but from a distance?
I had so many experiences where, like, different young women that I come encounter with, and they say, man, my dad got locked up, and I ain't never see him again. I never talked to him. There was not a graduation, a report card, a good report, a bad report, that man wasn't on the phone using his 15 minutes, I'm gonna call you right back, using them again. Sometimes I used to be like, man, can you call somebody else? Like, so, and I think I can speak for my other siblings. when, you know, it was the same with him. That was his number one priority, was that, you know, I'm not gonna be here physically, but I'm gonna make sure my kids know who I am. I'm gonna make sure I, you know, can have some form of an impact on their lives. And again, my grandma was a rider. I couldn't wait to be in her position, because every weekend she loaded that truck up, took us to see him. Every, you know, holidays and all that for my siblings, the ones that celebrated or whatever, she made sure we got there. Phone calls, our parents, you know, our moms, they held him down just as much too, because they made sure that when he called, we got that phone call. So, you know.
You didn't skip a beat.
Listen, I can honestly say it, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. I'm blessed, because my father could have took his bid, took his, whatever charges they gave him, he could have took it and just shut down, and we wouldn't have knew what it was like to have a father.
No, that's real. That's too real. Talk about finding out about those luxury relationships, celebrity relationships with like Dapper Dan, the trips to New York to get these designer clothes, the relationships with the LL Cool J's and everything like that.
To me, it was just, and it is even like that now, because he came home to relationships like that. You know, you got people like, you know, Meek. Meek was definitely somebody that is a good friend, somebody that he calls a friend to this day. But it's like one of them things, like they regular people. They go through stuff just like everybody else do. So for me, it was just like, that's dope. Like, I hats off to him. You know, he had these relationships, they remember him for some odd reason, he put an impact on their lives for them to, you know, continue to talk about him or, you know, want to be there to support him. So it's definitely, you know, I get to flex a little bit every now and then, but just a little bit.
A little dazzle.
But, you know, and it's just like, you know, my life is based around my son. So it's just like, you know, being able to show him a good side to a bad situation, and, you know, this is what your grandpa used to be into, this is what, you know, where he came from, and this is where he is today, and being able to, you know, allow him to see that, it's a beautiful thing.
That's real. How did it make you feel once you found out your father and Meek Mill were in jail together?
It's crazy, because I knew Meek before he became Meek Mills. I had his sister, me and his sister used to be together when we was kids, so when I found out that he was, you know, in jail or whatever, I just was like, oh, that's what's, you know, not that's what's up, like, yeah. But, oh, okay. And I told my dad the story and how I met him a couple times as a child. And I don't know if he shared this with him, but my son is a Meek fan. So it was like one of them things where we went to see him and Meek was in the visiting room. So he got a chance to meet him, shake his hand or whatever. So, you know, it was a good thing. I've never been starstruck, so it's just like I said, one of them things for me is like, it's just another individual that was able to do something better with their life, and I greatly appreciate, you know, the work that Meek was doing. Absolutely. Because he definitely put an imprint in the community, as far as, you know, and as well as, you know, with the people that's locked up, whether they have been wrongly convicted or, you know, justice reform and all of that stuff like that. So it's dope, and I definitely appreciate it.
No, that's real. That's real. So talk about finding out the time where your father was sentenced to life in prison.
Of course, when he was sentenced, I was a baby. So when I say like more like later on in life, as far as teenage to younger adult, it was like just really getting to understand it, like, damn, my dad got life. So it was like, people would be like, when your dad coming home? I want to say 15, 16 years old. I used to be like, man, my dad ain't never coming home. Stop asking me. Then, you know, as I got older and got a more understanding of his case, it was like, oh, okay, you know, prayerfully he'll be home one day. And then when we found out the new, you know, the new evidence and all that stuff with his case, it was like, oh yeah, he'll be home. Don't even worry about it. So now, you know, I was able to walk around with my chest out a little bit more, because I knew, like, yeah, he was going to touch. Because a lot of people felt like, we had a lot of people that said he wasn't coming home. He wasn't never going to come home. And I used to always be like, well, even if he don't get home before I become an adult, hopefully he'll get home before my son graduates from high school. And here we are today.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Kev, what do you say to a situation where you see this man sentenced to life in prison, but you guys come together and formulate this plan to bring this man who was basically, life was tarnished, to bring him back home to see his family?
Man, it's like, I felt like it was meant to be because the way it happened, it was like so organic. The way we linked up through my mom and my uncle. And I got a little brother with 3 life sentences plus 150 years. So in my mind, I'm like, if he can get that L back, my brother can get that back. And I told him that when I first met him. He reminded me so much of, it's crazy because he's older than my brother, but my brother reminds me of a younger version of what he would be. You know what I'm saying? So in my mind, I'm like, that gave me hope. And then at the same time, he restored a feeling back in me that I didn't have, which was like, yo, we gotta save these puppies out here. And I'm like, bro, you can't. Like, they gone. He's like, no, we gotta try. We gonna figure it out. We gonna put a plan together. And we started putting our heads together and started trying to figure out some things to do to try to like turn things around.
That's real. So talk about the formation of Just Better Men.
So Just Better Men actually started when my father was incarcerated. When my brother was killed in 2007, my brother was 22. He was a good kid. He had 2 jobs. And it was crazy because I was at a party waiting for him and I got the call. But needless to say, my father was trying to wrap his head around, like, what can I do? Like, and it still amazes me to this day how, you know, back then everybody was angry, but he was so mild-mannered and like focused on putting a strategy together. And he called one day and he was like, baby girl, what you think of the term Just Better Men? I'm like, it sounds good, but what's behind it? And, you know, he stated that he wanted to be able to impact the community, try to help as much as he could. And in my head, it was like, well, how you gonna help from there? But that turned into, you know, him saying like, I wanna put a positive narrative behind the acronym JBM. So I said, all right, cool, what we need to do? Let's get the ball rolling, let's get it go. And it started with, you know, him calling home and mediating beefs that was going on in the street. You know, he stopped a couple little young boys from my neighborhood from getting killed, just over the phone. You know, him doing video calls and, you know, at outreach programs and things like that. So, you know, that was one of his things, like when as soon as my feet touch the ground, we gonna take off. And that's exactly what we did. We got everything, you know, we did the paperwork and followed everything that we needed to do. And from here on out, that's what it's about. Trying to impact the youth, whether it be in Philadelphia, Cali, Atlanta, whatever. We're gonna travel, we're gonna do what we need to do, and we're gonna try to put some type of dent in the violence that's going on in the U.S.
No, that's amazing. How does it make you feel to know that you're a part of something that was once with a tarnished name, just blowing money, Junior Black Mafia, but now it stands for something positive, Just Better Men, and it's actually working, like you said, as such, helping young people still be here today to tell their story of their own lives and not being a statistic?
Listen, it's amazing. It's crazy because I had my girlfriend made me a hat, and on the side of the hat it says JBM. You would have never caught me with nothing that said JBM on it. But knowing that we putting in the work to do what we need to do to change the narrative behind it, yeah, I'm proud of it.
That's real.
We gonna rock it. We gonna put it on everything. Everybody gonna see it, and we gonna let it do what it's gonna do.
That's amazing. You were very instrumental in the release of your father. I know you said you wanted to take on the leadership role of your grandmother, and you did that very, very well, because now, like you said, you brought your father home in time to see your son graduate. So talk about mustering up the courage to take on such role and accomplishing and being successful in bringing your father home.
You know, my father is a thinker, and I think I get a lot of that from him. He processes everything. So it was like, I asked him, like, well, why me? Why you want me to do it? You got another daughter, you got an older son, you got homies out here, like, you got sisters, why me? And he was like, listen, baby girl, I know you're gonna take it and you're gonna run with it and you're gonna get it done. So, you know, he told me, like, listen, I need this to be between you and I, though. Because I couldn't tell my family because it was just like, it was more of a protection thing. None of my aunts, my grandmother, she's 90 years old, nobody knew that we was back in court. And then it was like, when COVID hit, I was like, oh man, wait, this is gonna take forever. But we had a crazy, and we have, because he's still on our team, we got a crazy lawyer, and he was hungry. And it was like, whatever needs to be done, I'm gonna do it. So it was like communicating with him. You know, I cook. So like, I did the whole block party situation, fundraiser, you know, I did what I needed to do. And like I said, I'm honored to be able to take on that because that's my dog. That's my best friend. That's my everything. Like, and I tell a lot of people, I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for God and, you know, all that. But, you know, if it wasn't for my father, because he was so strong in my life and to make sure that I, you know, took the right path, and as well as taking on the responsibility for my son, that was the least I could do. So when I saw that loophole, yeah, what, lawyer need what? All right, we got it, don't even worry about it. We gonna get it done, and we gonna pay, and we gonna see what happens. And every court date, I was there. And I was honored to be able to tell we didn't tell my grandmother until he got released. And, you know, a couple people was mad, well, I wanted to know, and why you ain't tell me, and all this and that. Listen, he didn't want nobody to know, because then you gotta deal with being let down and all of that stuff if things don't go that way, which it would have been a lot on me too, but to be in that courtroom and hear that judge say, the case is dismissed, where he at, get him out right now, undescribable feeling, undescribable.
That's real. What was your grandmother's reaction when she found out her son was coming home?
She found out he was coming home when he was home. So we got him out, picked him up, took him to get dressed, took him out to get something to eat, and then we took him to her house. She was already in bed. So she was a little discombobulated because she didn't really understand what was going on because of, you know, she's 90. But, you know, once he got down in her face and she was looking and she touched his head and everything, she like, oh, how you get here? So, you know, it was a beautiful moment. I'm glad that we was able to capture it so that, you know, we can hold on to that, because everybody had their cameras out, because definitely the tears was flowing. But, you know, she's grateful, because she tell me every day, every time I talk to her, she like, thank you for doing everything you know you did. And I tell her, listen, you don't have to thank me, because this is what I wanted to do. People ask you, what you want to be when you grow up? I want to be able to get my dad home. That was what I wanted to be. And I'm living it.
No, that's real. So now that your father's home, how do you guys want to continue the legacy?
If we affect one life, one family, one life, then I feel like we doing what we need to do. Like, I've always been involved in, you know, charities and trying to do things to give back to my family, my community. Anybody that touched me or that I allow to be in my space, I feel like, you know, they've left feeling some type of good. So, you know, with that, and him and I, and, you know, it's a team of us, because it's definitely not me, it's definitely not just him. We got Kev, we got a couple other people on the board. If we could just try to show the kids that it's something else better than, you know, picking up a gun or having a beef. And, you know, people say, oh, well, they don't use, you know, before they used to fight it out. Now you ain't really got to do that neither. Because if you sit down and have a conversation and both parties are held accountable for what it is that they did, then we can come to some type of medium. And even if we don't agree, we can agree to disagree and walk away. So just showing my nieces, my nephews, my son, that it's something better out here. You can get money, and he can get money. It's enough money for everybody to get money together, and we ain't got a gang war about it. We ain't got to fight. You ain't got to dislike them. You ain't got to dislike her, or whatever the case may be. We gonna get it.
That's real.
That's right. Like what she said, right? That's what's messing the paper up. That's what's messing the money up. So we collabed and we did like put the guns down competition for young artists to do a freestyle or like a video, basically just rapping without guns. And I know like drill music is the thing, and listen, I don't got nothing against drill music. I like all types of music. I like Skrilla, OT7 Kwani, Tor. I like, but I also like Lights. I like Too Rare. I like D Sturdy. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like Leaf Ward. You know what I mean? But the rapper that understands, if they can learn how to do that and get the subliminal game up, they gonna go to the next level. Cause I was telling her early that The Weeknd got a song, I Can't Feel My Face. He got nominated for a Kids' Choice Awards. That shit about snorting coke. You know what I'm saying? So if you just get your subliminals up and, you know, and don't get young kids that ain't in it, like keep them out of it. Like, if you know young boy ain't on that, don't put him in that. Like, tell him stay away. This ain't for you. This is the big dogs. Like, stay over there and do what y'all do. So it's about the younger kids. It's not about trying to change people that's full-fledged in the streets that lost homies and all that. I understand all that. Trust me. So, like, it ain't about that. It's about the ones that never got into it, that's not a part of it, to say, yo, listen, go in a different direction. Because, it's, you know, that's where the money at anyway.
Right.
No, it's real. Now that your father's home and the morals and the principles of the streets have changed drastically,
Yes.
what do y'all feel his thoughts and opinion is? I can only imagine.
It's crazy because I was just telling him a story. I was just telling him how, like, people would be like, yo, your pop coming back home to take the street. So I used to be like, what? Like, these? No. The game ain't like it used to be before. Mm-hmm. So, like, he definitely see it, and he just like, listen, I don't want no parts. I'm going to just do what I need to do over here to make sure my family is good, and we're going to protect these kids, the younger generation that's coming up, like Kev said, like, just deter them from going left and make them go the right way. And again, being able to step in at some point and say, listen, enough is enough. We don't have that no more. We don't have that. I see it in my era. I see it in his era. Like, them old heads that used to pull you to the side and sit you down, or sit you down at the table, and we don't have that. So, you know, I think that's if I could speak to him and what he wants to bring that culture back. Old heads that's going to take you to the table and say, listen.
We need some real OGs out here.
No, for sure. Facts.
Absolutely.
That's what we tried to do, like a big homie thing. So, you know, like Malik Jackson, Meek Mills, Rasheed Wallace, Hakeem Williams. These is all people that he knows or had some type of relationship since he been home. That also Wallow, that we feel like can help take, you know what I mean, a role in the city. Because we know the young kids now, and they should, they respect the paper. Like, and we get it, but you ain't gonna get it that way. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's gonna scare the money away. Like, even if you in the mix, like, you can't be in the mix, run around. I mean, that's a whole nother vibe. So he definitely was just saying, because he'd go to the youth study center too. So he'd be in the youth study center and he'd be talking to a lot of the young kids. So when he be in the youth study center talking to a lot of kids, he's very observant around the room, and he could kind of see through them, and he'll switch it up real fast. His tone, his understanding, and they straighten up and start listening to him. So he can see through what's going on, but he's not very judgmental about it. He just kind of do it in a smooth way where he know, like, all right, I see what it is, so he gonna take a different approach. I think that's more so how he does things. He just observe it, like she said, he's a thinker, and then he approach it from based on what he feel like it needs to be addressed by. He don't really go at it like aggressive. He's more smoother with it.
Absolutely. I feel like that's what this generation kind of lacks. It's not that they don't respect the older generation, they don't respect the tone of the message they're delivering. Yeah. They don't like to be talked at. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, sure. They don't like to be criticized for what they're doing. They feel like it's criticism and they call it hate. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because it feels like hate. Yeah. But truth be told, it's some OGs like, take the Killer Mike and Casanat situation, for instance. Casanat didn't understand why Killer Mike might have won a Grammy, but how his response, it basically didn't call Casanat out for being like not knowledgeable of his music or anything. He doesn't fault him for that. He's just basically saying, like, you know, be open to giving things chances. And I feel like more OGs who teach more so like that, that's what we lack at.
No, for sure, 100%.
No, for real. So with y'all being OGs, how do y'all feel y'all give, you know, life lessons, knowledgeable lessons to the youth without them feeling so attacked or them feeling disrespected or not coming across as a hater?
See, me, like, anybody who know me who's seeing this right now know I always got to the bag since a puppy. Like, so anybody know me, even if they don't like me, know I got to the money. I'm the type of person you can call me and I'll tell you whatever you need to know about anything if I know it. Like, I don't care what it is. As long as you call me, yo, what's up, bro, da-da-da, I'm going to give you whatever game I can give you. And I done had so many business, constructions, nail salons, special needs joints. I grew weed legally. Anything you need to know, like, even if it's on that side, I give you a little advice. Oh, you should do that, do this, do this, do that. So for me, it's more about just giving game to people with and I give it from a perspective of like it's genuine. I'm not trying to play you. It's like, oh, all right, no, for sure. Like, oh, dang, well, maybe you should look at it like this. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you should look at it like this, or won't you try it like this? And that's a fact. Anybody who see this right now can comment below, know that I give any game out. All different neighborhoods, all hoods put you on, that's what I'm into. Ain't nobody gonna deny that. So that's like me, that's just me being organically me, that's how I do it.
And I could definitely vouch for that, because I didn't meet Kev until my dad came on. So, and it's been genuine from day one. So, you know, our family definitely was connected, but I didn't know who he was. He didn't know who I was. So, you know, but to touch on like me and, you know, what I choose to do is I'm an act of service kind of person. So I don't care where I'm at. If I see somebody that needs something or needs some assistance with something, that's me. I'm your person. On a daily basis, I have people reach out to me. Oh, I need clothes, I need sneakers, I need rent money, I need this, I need that. I'm a everyday mom. Like, I ain't getting a whole bunch of money, but I know how to talk to people. I got resources, I reach out, and I do what needs to be done to get the job done. And I think everybody that come encounter with me, those that are close and those that aren't, they know. Yeah. One thing about her, she gonna get it done.
Yeah. And she put that party together, the all black party.
Put together all black cabaret. We sold out
everything. Taking tickets, bringing stuff in, setting stuff up. Like, she was just moving. For sure.
Listen, I'm driven by being able to do things to, you know, help people that actually deserve it. Because you got a lot of people out here that want help, but they want help, but they're not really trying to help themselves. I help the people that want to help themselves. So, you know, I don't have a problem with it.
That's real. So, any last words or shout outs?
Yeah, I want to do, so for the tournament, we got a few people that entered. So we got Kwani1, we got Young Kai _1, we got Rob Michelle, we got _Adula _135. So I want to give a shout out to them for entering in the competition and really just showing some skills without, you know, talking about shooting the pistols and all that, for sure. Again, not that there's nothing against that type of music, but we just need some diversity, a little bit of mix it up a little bit.
You know what I'm saying? Lil Zach.
Oh yeah, and then oh yeah, you know, our crew like Have, Keep It a Yard, Olam 18 and 18 Roses. They that's his camera crew and his media crew.
They show up every time.
For sure,
they always there.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, Strawberry Mansion Learning Center, that's the brother that owns that. It's a nonprofit. He's been very intricate in playing a good role in helping Just Better Men get off the floor. They house a program for teens and for the youth. Our Just Better Men team, you know, everybody behind the scenes that you don't see, amazing. And I just figure, am I forgetting anybody?
The big dog. Shout out to the big dog. You know what I'm saying? We hope we made you proud on this joint, dog.
The original,
yeah, the big
black,
dog.
2-time Sudi, that's my son back here.
Yeah.
You know, he definitely makes sure he get it done.
Yeah.
And that's all we got.
That's what's up, man. The collabs, we appreciate having y'all on the porch with us today, man. Shout out Black Kev.
Hell yeah.
Yes, absolutely.